Good morning, everyone. This is Karl F Rose recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Saturday, January 16th, 2020. But before we get going, let me put on my music here. Okay, now let me get into my disclaimer here. Okay, if you're 13 years old or younger, please leave this podcast now. These podcasts are not targeted for children in any way, shape, or form. So if you're under 13 or under, please leave now. Okay, good morning. This is Karl F Rose recording live from Bedford, Pennsylvania on Saturday, January 16th, 2020, and it's only 4 days away until the new administration is sworn into office. Now, as I've said in other podcasts, YouTube does have new guidelines, and my Spreaker podcast goes directly to my podcast channel on YouTube. So there's a lot of things that I can't, unfortunately, I'm forbidden to talk about, but so that's the past. That's the past administration. So moving forward, what I want to talk about this morning is the anticipated, what the new administration wants to impose as a $15 minimum wage across the country. And what I want to do is talk about the consequences of something like that. First of all, my view on the minimum wage and like fast food work and that sort of stuff. The minimum wage is meant to be there for a purpose. So when high school kids and that sort of thing, when they're working at these jobs, it's kind of a stepping stone for them to get into the working world. It's not those type of jobs are not meant to be career type jobs, unless you're really good at what you're doing and you want to climb up the company. Yeah, that's one way of doing it, and a lot of people are very, very successful climbing up the ladder at McDonald's or whatever, and once you get to the management level and above and that sort of thing, yeah, you can have a very good lifestyle. But to have the basic workers, the minimum wage is designed to give them incentive to go to college, to get a better education, to better themselves, to get themselves out of that job into something that they really want to do. Well, what the $15 minimum wage is actually doing, it's discouraging that. That's one of the bad things. And with all these demands from these people that they absolutely, they're just way out of line. It's unacceptable. But anyway, this is what we're dealing with. So now, since that's more than likely going to happen, I know some people actually who my age, they're at a job, and this is going to automatically bump up their income, and then he's going to work a little longer, and then that'll just increase his retirement amount. So it's kind of a benefit for him, but it's crazy. What's going to happen, and it won't happen right away. In fact, it's not even passed yet. They're working on it, but I'm pretty sure it's at 99.9% chance that it's going to be a done deal. But we won't see the effects of that depending on how long it gets passed. Once it kicks in, who knows? They might implement that. If they implement that this year, which I'm pretty sure they will. Um, we'll see some things later on in the year, but maybe they'll start kicking it into maybe 2022 or 2023 or something like that, because that's how usually these things work. Because when they make the law, they want to make sure that before it goes out that everything's right, except for the what happened with the healthcare thing. So they just may rush it through and it might pass right away. So let's take the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is if they pass it and they it kicks in maybe a couple years down the road. It's still not good, but that would be better than right away. But I'm expecting them to pass it and have it go into effect right away. So what I'm getting at is, so if all these basic workers are getting $15 an hour, and let me point out another thing, the management, they're on salary, so this doesn't affect them at all. So in other words, their subordinates could possibly be making more than them, with overtime and that sort of thing. Had the power go out this morning. Now my coffee's cold. I'll have to reheat it here in a minute. And so it's going to be a trickle down effect, and it's going to be a nightmare. So let's say it passes, and it passes right away. You're going to see gas prices go up. Everything is going to get more expensive, and then we get into the hyperinflation thing. You can see gas $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 a gallon easily, and then if we have something going on overseas, I'm looking at probably $10 to $15 gallon gas prices easily. That won't happen this year, but that'll happen. The price of milk, it's $4 something a gallon now at some places. It might be paying $9 to $10 a gallon for a gallon of milk. Just everything. Your electric bills is going to go through the roof, especially when they start cutting off all that. But that's for another video. We'll get into the fracking thing on another podcast. But now I'm with all this going on and the transition and all that, I'm going to be focusing my podcast more about this administration and move on from what happened, because, as I said, there are some things that we can't talk about anymore that were forbidden. So we'll just move on from what happened. Obviously, I'm not happy with what happened, but that's just the way it is. So we have to move forward with what we have. And I just want to say that it's not going to be good. But this $15 minimum wage thing is it's not going to help. It's not going to help at all. Anyway, because of the power outage and all that, it's really messed me up this morning. But anyway, please leave your comments. Let me know what you think about, if you agree with the $15 minimum wage thing, if you agree with it, if you don't agree with it, if you think it's going to hurt or help or whatever. I'd like to hear your comments. But personally, I think we're going to pay some consequences. It won't kick in right away, but once they pass it, it's going to take a few months before we see the repercussions, and you're not going to like what you see. Anyway, well, I'll end on that because I got a million other things to do, and we will talk to you next week, and hopefully on some better news. Okay, take care, have a good day, and I will talk to you next Saturday.